Hey, good morning to you. Welcome back to Sales Remastered. I'm your host, Daniel. If this is your first time visiting, thank you. So this episode is going to be about the difference between marketing and sales. And I think that, before I started in sales, I didn't know the difference between marketing and sales. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I saw an article the other day about, Amazon. Amazon, right? That big company. Amazon is secretly considering going into real estate, meaning that they'll start selling houses. They'll be a competitor of Zillow and Redfin, if you're familiar with them. These are two big, huge conglomerates that assist not only the transition or the assistance in finding a realtor and locating a property, finding out the details of the property. If you haven't heard of Zillow, man, you're either too young to be a homeowner, or I don't know, you just haven't used the internet ever. But they're pretty big pictures, and it's going to be interesting to see, because a lot of speculation is thinking that that Amazon in itself is just going to become a monopoly. And when it comes to real estate, since I work in that industry, the speculation is that the sales agents will ultimately become AI. AI is artificial intelligence, and it's just basically stating that at some point there will be no humans needed. And of course, that at a point in time right now, whenever the market shifts or the market goes through its cycle, I like to call it kind of like a roller coaster, right? It goes up, 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 and then down, and then up, 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 but nonetheless it's moving vertically. And we could see this based on the median income or the average property value. So it did go down, but then it went up and went actually higher than it did before, because there is more confidence with the regulations put in place within the industry, if you can follow me on that. If you can't, don't worry about it. This episode is actually about sales and marketing. The reason why it's important to understand the difference is two things, and I'll get back to why I mentioned that Amazon in just a little bit. But when it comes to sales and marketing, whatever company you work for, it doesn't even have to be in real estate. It could be in any service, any product, and all businesses is a business because it provides a service or a product. And when you realize this, any company, you name a company, they are a company, and they are open, and they have money to pay employees because it generates revenue. And revenue is what keeps a business alive. Revenue is the oxygen of a business. And so if you think of sales is what generates the revenue. Sales is now the actual heart of the business, whereas the revenue is the oxygen. So your body would not be able to operate if there was no oxygen, and your body would just shut down if there was no heart, if there was no sales. Does that make sense? I hope you guys follow me on that. And so the reason why I bring that up is because at any point in time, if you ever recognize the sales department of the actual industry, typically the salary or the hourly income is the absolute lowest amount of in the company, besides maybe a small admin role. In some cases it's even just as much, or if not lesser than an admin role. Admin meaning like executive assistant or production assistant, like an administrative role. Receptionist, meaning that the receptionist hourly pay is maybe in some cases higher than the hourly pay of a sales agent or sales representative. And that is because the sales department is influenced, right, or kind of motivated to bring in revenue. And if they bring in revenue, then they surpass their hourly, whereas the receptionist does not have that option. And so again, I hope you follow me, but the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because sales is a very important department where it creates the oxygen for the company, again, the revenue. Whereas marketing is just to create the interest of oxygen, or interest of the service that you provide. And so where marketing is, let's say when you log on to Facebook, for example, and you see in your feed a random advertisement, and right under the name of the profile you see the word sponsored. Sponsored means that company paid Facebook a fee to market their service. right? Now that marketing ad, it seems like, you know, oh yeah, well, it's trying to sell me something. But yeah, no, it's not really trying to say, it's selling you. It's selling you to click the learn more button. It's selling you to find out more info, but it's not selling you. You never look at a marketing ad and said, oh, I want this one. And then you just push a button. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, at the end of the day, probably the closest thing that could do that is Amazon. You know, you're looking at kind of like an image or marketing, but it again, it doesn't necessarily mean you buy it. And so let's use Amazon again for an example, where if you saw you know, maybe an email follow-up of something you searched on Amazon, you probably received that before. Like, let's say you looked up a radio and you never bought it, but Amazon's gonna remind you and say, hey, you know what, you looked up this radio, here's some other radios that are similar or maybe lower in price. And that's genius. That's automation at its finest. That is just genius, that, you know, the way that they have that set up, because it's reminding you, it's following up on a prospect who's in the market. And because I didn't buy a radio that day, for example, Amazon's going to take the automation of their business and email me like a week later, 2 weeks later, and just say, hey, you know what, you checked out this radio, what do you think, did you ever get it? And it's making sure that whether or not I spent my money, in essence. And Bezos, man, fucking high five to you, bro. But getting back to the subject, marketing never sells you anything. It just influences you to learn more. That's all it is. Whereas sales is more of an actual close, right? And sales is a profit center, a profit department, right? Of all departments in the company, sales is actually the profit department. It brings in profit. And whereas marketing is a cost center, it is a cost. So marketing does not generate profit. It helps with generating profit, but I can point you in the direction of a bathroom all day long. It doesn't mean you're going to go to the bathroom. I'm just going to market where the bathroom is. Now, if you didn't have to use the bathroom, you'd probably just be like, okay, and just move on, right? Like, what's this guy pointing at the bathroom door for? But there will be some cases where you know, I'll point to the bathroom door, won't say anything, and you might be walking by and say, oh, you know what, it sounds good. I might need to take a leak. I think I do need to take a piss. You know what? I'm thinking about taking a shit. You know, something like that, just randomness, and those do happen, but they are far and few in between. You know, and I think that it's important to really identify why sales and marketing are two different things, is because also, if depending again on the size of the company you work for, you know, you could be working for a small company and you see the marketing budget, meaning the amount of money that your competitor is spending towards marketing is just fucking eclipsing your business. And so you're trying to hustle and peddle a product and service, and all you hear from the consumers is, oh, I could get it better from here or there, and it's always that company you see on TV playing every fucking minute. You know, every fucking other commercial is their name, right? And starts to eat at you, starts to bug you, you start to talk to yourself like, man, maybe I should go work for their company. Or, oh man, maybe I'm not with the right company. You know, you gotta let that voice go. You know, be thankful for that company because they're marketing your service, your product. Don't think that their brand is the only thing that will win that service or product. It's up to your hustle. It's up to your sales ability and sales skills to sell, right? And so rely on that big company that's spending millions of dollars to make sure that their ad or their advertisement or their marketing, you know, ad is playing like in every other minute or every other commercial, because they are actually helping you. They are helping you gain the attention and interest of the service or product that you also sell. Why is this helpful? Is because only us in sales, only we coincide both together. We only us believe that the logo or the brand name is going to win because they're on the commercial ad. That's not that way. You know, there's no loyalty with consumers anymore. It's all about who's got the better deal. And I have a ton of videos explaining why consumers have this perception, or why they're wired to ask for free service, fast service. They don't want to give any info. They just want to push a button, get everything for free, no hassle, no paperwork, no headache, nothing. You know, and this is what they're walking in expecting it, even though they may not even qualify for the fine print that plays on the advertisement. And so a lot of times the sales and the marketing actually conflict. They you know, they don't actually, you know, they're not hand in hand. And it's because the way, again, the consumers are wired. You know, everyone knows about the fine print. Everyone is skeptical only when they're on the phone. You know, everyone's only skeptical and confused when they, you know, after they call in and they completely ignore the fine print. They completely ignore the disclosure. They completely ignore everything on that page because their perception was subjective. They only wanted to read what they like. They only wanted to hear what they like. They only wanted to respond back to the pretty picture that they liked. There was something that triggered that consumer to call, and too often times it's up to the sales agent to sell what they actually qualify for. So that's where sales comes in, whereas marketing is just to kind of bring you in. And the best example that I could think of is when you see a, you know, if you're watching TV and you see a commercial, like you'll see probably advertisements coming up for Labor Day about car sales, right? Like get this new lease special, or get this new special on this make and model, you know. And it's, of course, it's the dealership's effort to get rid of that inventory. But what they do is they will, like, we'll use Mercedes-Benz because that's a good example here. You know, they show you an advertisement where visually you see an AMG model, or visually you see the, you know, the highest brand or the highest luxury model. So in other words, instead of the C class, you see the S class. If you do see the C class, you see the C class AMG. If you do see the S class, you see the S500. You don't see the S400. You know, if you see a make visually on the commercial, it is the absolute fully loaded version. And if you look now at the advertised price, that price is for the base model. Like there's no, you know, bells and whistles in that payment, right? But consumers, again, will only hear what they want and see what they want and believe what they want. And so they'll think that AMG model that they see visually is the same, it is offered for that same payment that they see for the bone stock model, the model with no bells and whistles. So it's probably the absolute lowest option with the absolute highest down payment allowed. But it doesn't tell you that detail until it shows you that real fine print at the bottom of the screen. And the reason why it doesn't catch their attention is because they have the Mercedes-Benz with a big red bow around it and Santa Claus behind it, right? And it's a big, huge picture, and you're just looking at that beautiful picture. You know, rarely do you actually look down a little bit and you see that fine print that's actually in all white font. And of course, it's a snow picture, so the snow ground, it just blends in the background. Sometimes you might see it, right? But you see that big picture, and then you look a little bit over and you see the absolute bottom line price. You're like, man, I can get that S600 AMG or S63 AMG for $180 a month lease. Oh my God, I'm gonna go get one. You know, but anyone who's in the industry will know that no way you can get that. You know, they'll know the real, and those are usually the salesmen. You know, in most cases, that's also the marketing. But that's case in point of how marketing is not sales. Marketing just sparks the interest. If someone saw that Mercedes-Benz commercial, they can't just say, oh, you know what, I want the one on TV, go ahead and send it over to me, I appreciate it, here's my $180. It sparks the motivation and influences the phone call, so that when that person calls and say, hey, you know what, I want to see that model, the one that the AMG model for $180 lease special, I'd like to learn more about that. It's up to sales to say, perfect, not a problem, what time are you going to be by? No worries, I could show that to you. As a matter of fact, I have one ready right now. If you're open at 12:30, I can come by, or you can come by and check it out on the inside. I want you to test drive it first. You know, it's up to the sales to influence and persuade that interest, that curiosity to come in a little bit closer, come in a little bit further, right? And as you start to unravel the layers and start to learn more about the product, that the AMG didn't cost $180, it actually cost $1,180. But we were able as sales to find out how bad you wanted that AMG. We were in sales fortunately able, through our skill sets and by watching Sales Remastered, I was able to upsell you by 100%. I was able to upsell you by 1000%. I was able to add in that low jack feature you probably didn't need, but because I'm a great salesman, I was able to show you why you needed it. And so this is going to be the matter of fact for as long as we live. And everyone can have their opinion or their view on marketing and sales. And deep down inside, at a consumer level, only businesses don't hate on this. But from a consumer standpoint, who are not in sales and marketing, they're going to look at it bad because they've been burned by either one, or in some cases even both, at one point in time in their life. And it's human nature to want to only be burned once. They don't want to be burned twice, right? And so when you put that in perspective and you realize that this is the norm, you don't have to be the only one in your sales department not producing because you didn't get the fucking memo of how people are thinking nowadays. Fortunately, you found Sales Remastered, whether it was on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Go to your Google search bar and put in hashtag Sales Remastered and search. If you like the content and you feel me on my message, please follow, like, and subscribe. Share. Share and help support the brand. This is all free content. And I think that a lot of this content is what you can relate on. Why would you want to listen? Is because I got over fucking 2 decades of experience in this bitch. I got over fucking 20 years of that fucking hustle and grind mentality that I love. You see what I'm saying? Who else are you listening to? Your fucking sales manager? Who else are you listening to? Your sales trainer, your corporate fucking sales trainer? Who are you listening to? A fucking guru online who hasn't sold fucking shit in the last 5 to 10 years? Go ahead. Listen to that shit. But the only person making money in that fucking equation is that guru selling you that $100 program. That $100 program that worked back in 1998. That $100 program that no longer worked 6 months after it was fucking released. But what will work, oddly fucking enough, is this free fucking content from a hustler when you get the peek inside the mind of someone doing it right now on a daily fucking basis, that's doing it regularly. That's what you'll find at Sales Remastered. I hope that this message helps and that it makes you stronger. Please check out the other videos and let me know what you think.